We're on.
Okay, gosh, thank you guys so very much. This is wonderful. I've been looking forward to this opportunity since this whole process started when Catherine and I were beginning the planning. And I can't thank you guys enough for joining us to share some of your wisdom and thoughts with our group. But before I get started, I wanted to make one comment about Alan Haig's presentation, which I thought was excellent. And if you're listening, Alan, my email is jim.press@gmail, and I'd be happy to take care of your son. We've got plenty of folks that are ready, willing, and able. But so this is a opportunity for us to share the wisdom. Alan said something kind of interesting. Really good dealers extract the most and get into commercial business, and I found that. I've known a lot of dealers, and if you really want to find where the best ones are, what is a symbol, what shows that they are, it's their presence in commercial. And we've got two of the very best here today. This is a real great opportunity. You remember the old E.F. Hutton commercial? When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. And with Rhett and Charlie, it's true. They are the best. In fact, I'll tell you a little story. Rhett may not even know this, but indirectly, his store is responsible for the Toyota Tundra. You wonder why. When I was just a regional manager in Cincinnati, and I was trying to find dealers that would take Toyota, at the time we were trying to encourage dealers to become Toyota dealers, I went and visited the largest Ford store in Columbus. And I couldn't believe the truck center, the fact that you turn left if you're looking for a car, right if you're going for a truck. It was all trucks. They had 700 trucks. And from that point forward, I knew that we had to get into the truck business. And so I kept that in my mind. We never got Ricart to be a dealer. We wound up with Trader Bud Hatfield was our dealer in Columbus. And Charlie is the dean of the dealers in Texas. If anybody wants to know how to be a dealer, what the ideal dealer looks like, it's his group. They've been there for 30 years. In fact, we tried to buy a store in Weatherford just to be part of the organization that Charlie has there. We couldn't get it. We were trying too hard. Well, the numbers were made out of chalk instead of pen ink. So, but anyway, so we're here to talk about the commercial business. We got a lot of dealers in the audience that are not in it yet, that need to, or are in it and need to get more out of it. So we've come to the experts to find out what we can learn and how they can do a better job. And I guess the first question really is for them to understand the way you operate. And we'll start with a question. How do you separate, what do you do different between your retail business and your commercial business? And how does that make the commercial business more successful than dealers that don't really see a way to separate it? Charlie, do you want to start with that?
Sure. Well, they're really two separate businesses. Our commercial business operates with a completely separate dock. It's run like a business. It's not part of our retail business. It is a completely separate business within our dealership, and we're all under one roof, but it is a completely separate department. They have their own inventories. We do share with retail inventories, but we kind of like dealer trade each other. Jim, it's completely separate. It's a different business in retail. So we have a complete management team. They review the financials. They pay their bills. It's a complete department. It's a business unit. It's part of our dealership overall operation and business model, but it's a completely separate unit. It's a different business than retail. You have to stock different units. You've heard about the upfitters. You don't turn the inventory as fast as you do retail. So it's not the same business model as retail sales. And you heard Alan say it's a lot it's all about relationships. The customers are different. The way we treat the customers is different. The way we handle them. It's more of a long-term business. It's not the retail. Somebody just decides they want a vehicle and goes and buys it. It's a business to business business model.
Rhett, how about you? You told me you had 700 units in stock.
Well, first of all, Charlie's got to understand, even way back when Jim was with Toyota, I had all the trucks back then too. So you haven't changed, Charlie.
And he still has all the trucks.
Still complain I got all the trucks. Yeah, but we made a huge commitment. The misnomer is that everybody thinks you have to be in the middle of all these businesses to have a R to B. We call it Ricart to business, and you don't, because our clientele, we do pickup and delivery, and it's all about speed. I mean, if you can get the vehicle back on the road for them, it's just like if your computer system went down this afternoon, you don't care how much it costs to get it back online, right? Because you're bleeding thousands of dollars every minute. So, I mean, that's our business model when we got into it. And that's the first thing you got to understand. You got to get committed, because if you can't deliver the speed, you're not going to keep the customers. The price is one thing, having the inventory is another thing. But speed. The faster you get her done, the more clients you'll attract, and you'll do it organically, won't you, Charlie? You don't have to put billboards up. They'll find you if you get the trucks and those cars back on the road really fast. So that's my son runs that division, just like Charlie. We separate it out, different dock, everything else, and we measure it that appropriate. And I told him it's the first time in the history I've ever seen our commercial inventories higher than our retail inventories, for the fact that, of course, this is the time of year for commercial business. This is Christmas time for us, so we're kind of enjoying it.
Yeah. So what kind of, in terms of the size of your business, is a share, the commercial piece versus the retail piece, percentage-wise, is it, what percentage is it? How big of a slice have you added by having a presence in commercial?
Well, Charlie, I'll just do this because I just went over this with my son about an hour ago, is the fact that you got to differentiate fleet, these courtesy deliveries and things like that, from what we do, fleet tail. Okay, we do the courtesy deliveries, but basically fleet tail. And we're 1-to-1 with our Ford store right now, fleet tail to retail. But we've been blessed. We've been blessed for the fact in Columbus, we're about 6.2 miles from the third largest inland port in the United States, Rickenbacker Air Force Base. You got to make those decisions as a dealer too. Our real estate isn't expensive down here. We're in southern Columbus, and we're able to build, bigger facilities and have more room, elbow room, to be able to grow. Next to a country club or a shopping center, and you're paying it by the square foot, it makes it a little more difficult. I think Charlie would agree with that, to scale this business large. But your customers will find you. Forget about your market area, because they will find you. We have customers from Marion, Ohio, regularly bring their trucks down here to have them serviced, because we have the parts, and like Charlie said, we have the parts separate, and we have the speed. All about speed.
How about you, Charlie? What share of your business approximately? What percent is it?
So we sell retail about 2,000 new, and we sell about 1,000 fleet. In 2019, we were like 1,500 in fleet, but 2020 was a little tough for us. In Texas, the oil field shut down, and so it hurt our business a little bit. But the diversity of the commercial business is what's really wonderful, and so a lot of the customers, even during 2020, continued on, and now we're really limited based on the inventory, and so I think 2021 is going to be a interesting year, because we are really trying to get the inventory to take care of our fleet customers. And so I think that's going to be a challenge. But as far as profitability, it's about 35 to 40% of our overall profitability, including the service and parts operation. So it's not a business for everybody. It's not for the faint-hearted. You do have to carry a lot of inventory. You have to carry inventory longer than most people, and you carry inventory that not everybody wants. So, sometimes in the retail side, we always figured we can find somebody that wants that vehicle, but in the fleet side, it's more specific. And so, but that's what makes it interesting and fun. And the good thing about the fleet business is it's not for everybody. So the ones that are in it should do very well.
A lot less competition.
Yes.
I guess that's clear. Then what kind of, do you have a customer base in particular that you work on that you're able to serve, like maybe the, well, I don't know if the base is probably a lot of retail, but do you have the cities? Do you have government contracts? How do you describe the marketplace for your commercial business?
Rhett, you want that or do you want me to go?
Yeah, because I'm in a state capital, so obviously the city of Columbus was a smart city designate last year. So we sold a couple hundred fully electric Nissans. We sold a bunch of hybrid Fords and things like that. That all adds to your mix. But what you'll find is that in the retail environment, everything is emotional when it comes to buying product and servicing products. Your retail customer, they forget a lot of their oil changes, don't they, Charlie? Forget a lot. Forget all those things. But in the commercial business, this is their only lifeline to keep their business and satisfy their clients. And today, in today's business, we had a company that had 6 of their catalytic converters cut off, and they had to bring them into service. And we're putting new catalytic converters on them. And the only thing that Mitch Manley is a gentleman's name, Mitch Manley with Johnson Controls, told me, he goes, man, we lost 2 customers today, man. We lost 2 customers because our trucks weren't out on the road to go get those customers fixed. So it's different than when your car breaks down and it sits in your driveway and you call Uber to come pick you up and take you to work. These are a lifeline for these people. So that's the reason, the importance of you got to have the inventory. As Charlie said, you got to have it. You got to have loaner vehicles. Obviously, we could only get 2 of the 6 vehicles and loaner vehicles for him because we didn't have enough for him. But even 2 helps. And he computed it in his mind. He goes, yeah, each one of these trucks is $1,000 a day to me. $1,000 a day. So if I'm out a day, I'm down $6,000. But most importantly, I'm down 2 of my clients that were really upset and they're going to try somebody else. And in today's internet, all they got to do is pick up a phone. They'll find somebody else to service them.
So Jim, the clientele will find you. But if you were just getting started in this business, I would tell everybody just to go down the street and stop into any business, electrician, plumber, and say, hey, I want to be here to take care of you. And they would really appreciate that. Very few people will ever stop in a business and say, I'm here to take care of you. And once you do that, your reputation grows, and you're not limited by a certain trade area. People will find you because you have the inventory, you have the expertise, and this is a complex business. And they're looking for somebody that knows how to spec out a vehicle, make sure that what they buy will work and perform day in and day out. And it's their business, it's their livelihood. And once they find somebody that they can depend on and trust, you'll have a customer for life.
And I guess because you're excellent fixed operations and your great reputations, that they trust you for that. And I guess, that's probably the biggest piece of the revenue that you get in the repeat business, because they know they can get the vehicle serviced and fixed quickly.
Right.
And maybe not cheaply sometimes.
And they know that you understand their business. You understand what they're going through. To Rhett's point, these customers depend on us to keep their vehicles running because it is their business, it's their livelihood. And so, what we have to do is make sure we take care of them, and we understand that. And if you pulled into any dealership, normally there's a line, and you got to get in line, or you have to set an appointment.
Yeah.
Well, in these cases, we got to take care of them, and we've got to make sure we're ready, available, and they don't have to go through the line. They don't have to go through the appointment. Come on in. We're going to take care of them.
Yeah, good point, Charlie. You got to separate them because, you got somebody that's a plumber that's got an engine light on in their truck. They don't want to sit behind a car that someone's unloading the car seat out of it and 3 kids switching rental cars and then doing a write-up on 2 or 3 warranty items. There's got to be a separate write-up system, separate people they talk to. separate people that really know the business that they can connect with. And it's a different model. It's not a model that you're going to do a lot of oil changes like a Ford things like that. It's not about that. No, the first thing we did when we kicked it off 8 years ago is that we had a building that was 24,000 square feet on 4 acres. And we said, well, let's pick up and deliver a lot of these trucks. We separated our truck technicians because obviously the Ford diesel engines, the most respected diesel engine in light duty trucks. But the fact is that we had free pickup and delivery. We only had to do that for 2 months and then we were filled. It's a convenience factor for businesses because they got to pull someone off the line to drive the truck down, someone to ride with them, somebody to bring them back, and all those different things. They run businesses just like you and I do every day, and they understand the cost of time. They understand the time cost.
Yeah.
Having a dedicated service drive, dedicated service person, get parts runners strictly for the fleet customers, have somebody that actually pick up and delivers these vehicles for them at first. You won't have to after that. Like Charlie said, they will seek you out. You are a very valuable commodity in today's business market. And by the way, we're in the middle of a COVID-19 crisis. What do you think it's going to be when this thing opens up? All these businesses are full speeding. It's going to be, and quite frankly, we opened up 116,000 square foot service facility on 9 acres last April, and we're out of room already.
Yeah.
You know, with 42 technicians, 60,000 square foot of technicians and 35,000 square foot of parts. And it's just, that's how much the demand is in the right markets, in the right situations. As Charlie said, you gotta treat this as a separate business. You gotta leverage up some money to do it. It ain't free and it ain't cheap. You know, hire some really good people and pay them. You know, you can't hire some trainee service advisor. You got to have somebody that's really seasoned to take care of these folks.
Yeah, and you can't build enough service department. And we just finished a store in Bentonville, a Ford store, and you know we followed the factory guidelines. The service department opened too small. I mean, you can keep building service. You don't need the showroom. You don't need the mausoleum there for the showroom. But boy, you just can't. And if you think of with electric vehicles maybe needing less service, you need more volume. You need the capacity. And you're right about that. You mentioned something interesting, and that's something we've all run into. That it is a specialized business, and it's harder to find people for commercial. And you know, it's good now. Systems like Work Truck Solutions, where you've got some continuity, and the business just doesn't fly out the window when somebody leaves because it's in the system. But still, how do you find the people? How do you compensate them? And how do you think you'll be able to fill them in the future? That's the biggest problem I think many dealers have for getting into it. Charlie, what's your thought?
Well, when I first started a long time ago, it doesn't seem that long ago, but the first thing I did is I hired a salesman from an international harvester dealership, a heavy truck store, and I told him kind of what I thought we were going to do is set up a separate commercial department, and he had the knowledge, the the ability to kind of foresee what we were going to do, and that's how we got started. Now it is extremely critical to find good people, good young people that want to make a career out of this, and so it is a big challenge for us, and we are constantly looking for people. It's not easy to find them. And once you do find them, then we truly need to keep them. But, I just hired, I'll give you an example. I just hired a guy from a bus company. He was selling buses, and he heard about us, and he called and said, hey, do you have a position? And, so he knew a little bit about the commercial business because he was selling buses. But this is an opportunity. You don't sell a bus every day, but you can sell a F-150, 250, 350, Chevrolet, Dodge, Ram truck. I mean, we can sell those every day, and it's an exciting business that that for young people that want to do something and make a career, they've got longevity there. But talent in pay plans, obviously you have to make sure that they can exist while they get their book of business. So, a lot of times you have to pay salaries or guarantees. A lot of people don't like doing that, but I want to make sure that our people can have a good living while they learn this business. And so we invest in them. And again, like I said earlier, you have to think of it. This is a long-term business. This is not about today. It's about next year, the year after, 5 years from now. We develop relationships, and we want to keep those relationships long-term.
It's interesting.
Yeah, Charlie brought up an important point. We did something different early on. We pay our folks that are in the fleet business, and then we pay them a small percentage of all the service and parts for that serial number for as long as they're with our company.
Wow.
That entices them to be able to promote their landscaping company here in truck. They bought like 70 trucks in the last 3 years, and they bring their trucks in, all their service work. Those landscape companies, they beat the hell out of those things, man.
Yeah.
I mean, they take a beating, and a lot of good service work. And so the contact at our dealership isn't somebody else. It's the sales fleet person in charge of that account, as well as a service advisor to make them happy. So as Charlie said, it's they got to be well seasoned, very professional. I don't mind paying them. It's the easiest thing you can do, especially when you have some sort of a long-term paid strategy. If all you're going to do is put somebody, I say these fleet departments, they give an office back behind the customer lounge by the parts department. It's usually the worst salesperson on the floor, but they've been around a long time and they're a nice person. And we're going to give them this fleet designation, and that person right there should be your very first salesperson with long-term commitment into your company. And we've done it, backwards in the past. I mean, it's totally different right now. Once you get a good client in there, and then you take good care of them, it's much easier to keep them satisfied. And two, to be able to adjust your stocking inventories in the future, because you know what they order. You're not guessing anymore. You know pretty much what this group of businesses will buy.
That's key. You're really showing the difference between the retail side and the commercial side. It's a different business in total. And those that don't see that and try to do commercial with the retail system and business model, they're the ones that can't make many money.
I can't tell you how many times in Rhett's 20 group, there's a lot of people in the fleet business. In my 20 group, there's not. I'm the only one. And I can't tell you how many times we've been beat up by carrying large inventories, and we don't have all these floor plan assistance credits everybody else has because we're stocking these things too long. But it's not for the faint-hearted. It's a great business, but it's completely different from the retail business, and you have to manage it different. You can't have the same expectations, and in many times you have to invest in this business because it's not just an overnight. We're going to get in there and we're going to sell something. So it's long-term. With a long-term strategy, you have to invest in it. But the rewards are tremendous once you get that department up and running. And you hear about fleet business, but we call it fleet tail, the retail side of the fleet. So all these people that are buying fleet vehicles, they also need retail vehicles. Right. So for us, it is a great fit. And it's perfect for our business model. We have other stores though, Jim, as you know, we bought other stores, and trying to get into that fleet business has been hard because you have to find the right person. And again, you got to invest in it. So you can't just walk in one day and say, I'm in the fleet business.
Yeah.
You plan it. It's got to be strategic, and you've got to invest in it.
And if there was somebody, Charlie, that's taking care of them, that understands speed, it's going to be really difficult to pull them away from it. And you all know that with vendors that you use for your own business, when they perform and they do it with speed and character and respect, your people love who they're dealing with, et cetera. That builds a huge culture, a huge culture within your business, and then a culture of your customers. Customers come. You have the better customers. the ones that work next to the Rickenbacker plant, as I mentioned. Amazon is down there. There's fleets of these. I'm not a Dodge dealer, but we do a lot of the maintenance and service work on all the Dodge Amazon vans down there because many of them have mixed vehicles where they have Transit or Dodges or whichever, and they bring their Dodges into our facility and have all the maintenance service work done. They don't really care what the sign says out front. They want speed, and they want somebody they can talk to, and they want to get that thing back as fast as they can, right, and fixed.
You know, it seems that you've got a leg up on being the dealer that represents the future of mobility. And you've made that transit. It's business to business. It's much more transparent. It's really a fixed operation service business. And talking about long term, what is your feeling about the integration of EVs and all of these new technologies and the digital technologies and all this from a standpoint of the retail world? You know, a lot of people are talking about these things, and I love everybody in the audience, and I guess it's because I'm old, but a lot of it is, you know, raising money for SPACs and the stock market and all this kind of stuff. We deal with customers every day, but from the commercial side, what do you see the future is with new technology and the digital world that we're moving into? How will we be affected and when?
Well, go ahead, Charlie.
Okay, I'll go.
I mean, before I was, I got to give you the gavel. You know,
so Rhett and I have talked about this at length, especially because of NADA and because of all the OEMs that are saying, you know, hey, we like to sell electric vehicles, and they want to create new distribution models for all these electric vehicles and autonomous vehicles. But at the end of the day, Jim Press, you might be old, but you've been around a long time. You've seen Ford in the 1990s want to buy dealerships and own them themselves, and that didn't work out. But we're still going to be here. The dealer will still be selling and taking care of these customers. The manufacturer cannot. They can't invest like Rhett has invested in Columbus. They don't have enough resources to invest in all these service facilities and sell direct. So through all of technology, through all of the sound bites that you hear in today's world, we're going to be here, and we're going to be just fine. Are we going to have to change? Absolutely. Are we going to have to do things differently? Absolutely. But we already have, and we do that continuously. I can't tell you 5 years from now or 10 years from now what the commercial business will look like, but I'll tell you this, over the last 30 years, it looks about the same as it was 30 years ago, because it gets back to dealers, people, and relationships. Products change, technology changes, but you know what? We still have customers that we had 10, 15 years ago, and they're still there, and we're still here.
Yeah.
That's so well said, Charlie. You know, we saw the latest numbers come out on electric vehicles in the United States, in which Tesla dropped 12 percentage points, and it was all because of Mach-E. According to the reports, Mach-E is delivering electric vehicles. You know, the very first automobile franchise showroom built in the United States was in 1898, and it was for an electric vehicle built by Alva Edison. So, I mean, electric vehicles are no big deal. We work on them now. We've been working on electric vehicles since the Prius came out, Jim. I mean, they talk about how the technology is so much more difficult, we can't work on it. Well, they just found out, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again, Tesla's been the only girl at the 8th grade dance.
Right.
Now a school bus pulled up out front from the other girls' school, and it's all the other manufacturers in the world, and they're building them too. In the next 24 months, there's going to be a deluge of electric vehicles, and dealers can work on them. They talk about the complexity of it. There's not that complexity when it comes down to replacing parts and diagnostics. We're doing it right now.
That's true.
Change in your service department on how you have to have lifts and slide batteries in and things. But dealers, are you kidding me that some of our service department, our mechanics, our technicians, should I say, in the back, are super geniuses. Anything. So albeit I just sometimes get disturbed by, you know, whether it be Workhorse or Rivian and the rest of all our vehicles are so special, nobody working. Well, if you're making them that damn complicated and complex, maybe we shouldn't have the public driving them around on the freeways. You know?
That's true. I remember the the special toolkit for the first Priuses that came out, and included in it was a big, thick rubber gloves. I mean, you're right about the technology. And the other thing is that
So do you
when
still
we
have
get
those
in,
gloves?
I'm sorry,
You still have those gloves?
I probably do somewhere. I probably do, but it's going to be it'll be more like aircraft, where you have scheduled maintenance by time. You're going to have the smart maintenance where they're going to anticipate where problems are and what needs to be fixed. So
Absolutely, absolutely.
Jim, it's Columbus State University has a technician program, and they brought up the point that the Ford F-150 in 2015 has 5 computers on it and has more lines of code in a Ford F-150 than a Boeing 747 jet. Now, if we can work on a Boeing 747 jet, then we sure as hell can work on a truck that's running down the road, and we have and we will.
Yeah, that's very true.
This technology, Jim, will help us really take care of our customers a lot better. I mean, when we know that they need certain services or something is fixing to fail, and we can be out there and take care of them, it'll just build more, more trust in us. And so the dealers will be there. The dealers will take care of it. OEMs can build these vehicles, and we will take care of the rest of it.
As this new world comes out, the function of the dealer in mobility, both of you at NADA took strong leadership positions, and we really need NADA to be engaged, because we're going to go through a redefinition with some of the franchisors, and the desire for them to reach down instead of up. We're a partner. The dealer body is an equal partner that needs to redefine what that relationship's going to be. And I think that it's what you've done is built a foundation, but we really need NADA to sustain us, because we got a couple of tough years coming where there's some changes that they're trying to, both from EVs and also this digital, where they see the digital process is their brick and mortar, but it's virtual. It doesn't work that way.
Jim, the thing that Rhett and I both have really talked about and discussed, but all dealers have to be involved in this. It's just not NADA, it's all of the dealers. And we need to do this in a respectful, dignified manner, but we need to tell our story to the OEMs and to our representatives, our senators, all our federal government, our state government. Everybody needs to know what dealers do. And if we do that, then we're going to be just fine. But you can't leave it up just to one organization. It takes all of us. This is a team sport. But I will tell you, as much as the OEMs, we also need to be talking to our state and local government and our federal legislative government too, because they make a lot of rules and decisions without knowing what we do. So it's incredibly important.
We take a look at these so-called disruptors, and then you can fact check me if somebody's got their phone in front of them. But in 2019, there were 600,000 more used cars at retail delivered in the United States, an additional 600,000. And out of that 600,000, the retail automobile dealers delivered 500,000 of the 600,000.
Yeah.
Who the hell is a disruptor?
Right.
Dealers
That's right.
Digital. There's no surprise. Digital's all got online. We deliver, et cetera, et cetera. But we don't take out national advertising, bashing everybody and talking how bad they are.
Absolutely. That just drives me crazy.
Don't do that. So if that's how they got to build market share by creating fallacies and mirages for people, that's fine. But 600, and I can't wait for the numbers to come through on 2020. Be very, very interesting, because I think the dealers even got better at digital in 2020. Not better, I mean exponentially better because of the COVID-19. So, and it does take the dealers. We have a director. We have Workhorse. Lordstown Motors introduced legislation yesterday in the state of Ohio to be able to sell direct in the state of Ohio. It's a mistake. It's another mirage. They do it for their investors, talking about how much cheaper it's going to be and how they cut out the middleman and all the rest of these other mirages.
Right.
The fact is, at some point in time, they're going to need a service distribution business for their customers to keep them happy. And the automobile business, as I said, since the first electric showroom back in 1898 till today, we're the best solution day in and day out.
That's really true. Those commercials drive me nuts. I just, every time I see them, all it is that promise raises more money on the funny stock market, and they take that money and they buy more ads. They don't make money. It's not a for-profit company. Yeah. And I think that, and I know that a lot of people in the audience probably are saying, "Oh no, those old guys, they don't get it." But the fact of the matter is that those efforts that they're making are undermining the image and the brand equity that we have. The money you spent in your community for your dealership and to build the reputation you have, it needs to be protected. And I think we need Charlie said it well, all the dealers to be involved, everybody to get involved in trying to show and weed out those that shouldn't be, that are giving us a bad reputation.
Yeah.
We assume everybody knows what we do. But Jim, I've learned through the few years I've been with NADA in talking to a lot of the federal senators and representatives in our state, most people don't understand what we do. Most people don't understand how we affect communities, what we do for communities, what we do for people. I've told people, there's so many times that we just give away things here at these dealerships. We take care of people, and we're not asking for anything in return. We just want to take care of people. That's what makes us good. That's what makes us a great dealer. And more people need to know that. And if they know that, the other public companies, the Carvanas and all that, they can't win against us. There's just no way.
Yeah, I sent a picture real quick. I know we're running out of time, Jim, but I sent a picture to our governor in the state of Ohio, and John Husted is, and I showed him a picture of our 9 acres filled full of police vehicles, emergency vehicles, the trucks that clean all the asphalt, that do all the thing on top, and all these trying to say we keep America rolling. But what the American car dealer during this past year, 71% of the tonnage is carried by trucks. We keep everybody rolling on the road. We can't let anybody else come into this thing and disparage the success and the safety we provide people. They can't let that happen. So we'll educate the legislators. As Charlie says, we got to get together at the grassroots with the dealers like we always do at the NADA. We'll get her done.
Yeah, you did a great job, especially with COVID. What you did for the industry, really, and how we helped keep the economy running.
Well, Charlie was a good teacher. Charlie was a good teacher.
So, I guess one of the things that I'm interested in is your view on how things look for this year, for the rest of the year. There are shortages of some products. Now I saw today that Charlie, Texas, we're getting blamed for a shortage of foam for seats because of the petrochemical plants that got shut down. They're going to, it's really kind of funny. There's the lean, if you look at the lean production concept and having low inventory, Toyota was really good at that. And if you also looked at it, they have a stockpile of chips. I think they learned, they're out of that. But given all those challenges, how do you see the rest of this year for your businesses?
Go ahead, Charlie, you go first.
So for us, Jim, our inventory levels at all the stores, Ford, Ram, GM, we got a Nissan and Volkswagen, all of them have very low day supply of inventory. On the commercial side, we normally would carry 300 to 400 commercial trucks. We're down to like 100. So it's extremely critical on the commercial side also. The lead time on a lot of these commercial vehicles is 45 to 90 days to get bodies and everything put on them. So the rest of the year is going to be a struggle. The demand will be there. As you know, they've opened Texas back up. He announced it yesterday. So I think the demand is going to get really, really good for the second half of the year. All the OEMs I've talked to are promising us that the second half of the year we'll have inventory levels to come back to I'm not going to say pre-COVID days because I don't think they can get there, but we're running on almost a 35 to 40 day supply here at our Ford store, less than that at our Buick GMC store and Chevy store. So it's extremely critical. Now, the good news is the profitability is great.
Good
And,
growth.
and if we should get satisfied, on profits, but we don't. It's volume that we like, right?
Yeah.
And this guy told me a long time ago, volume is vanity, profit is sanity, but cash is king. Well, I can't get past the volume is vanity part. But I think it's going to be a good year, but it's going to be a tough year. We got to manage our inventories. The grosses are great, but we have to really truly manage these inventories as best we can.
Yeah. How about you, Rhett?
I'm more optimistic than Charlie is on it. Everybody historically has measured the success of their franchise by how many new cars they sold. I think the manufacturers got us kind of hooked on that, because they want to sell cars, right? I'm talking to a Yoda there on my left on the screen. But the fact is that holistically, our dealerships are never healthier. I mean, you take a look at our ability to increase our used car inventories, to take advantage of the escalating used car market, to be able to take more trade-ins, to digitize our operations. Everybody through COVID last year pretty much trimmed down their operations for all the fat. They got themselves lean and mean. Our service operations are still bustling. They're moving. And as we come out of this and people are driving more because they're driving 18% less, they're going to drive more, put more miles on their vehicles. When they decide to trade them, we don't know about that. But I know one thing. All of my company customers at our fleet department aren't emotionally involved with any of their vehicles. They replace them and they fix them when they need fixed. So I think I have a more optimistic attitude about 2021. I think a lot of these building projects that are going up, there's still cranes in cities putting buildings up, et cetera, et cetera. And that's a lot of our businesses. And I think it's going to be a darn good year in 2021. In fact, I think it's going to be surprisingly good. It's going to surprise some folks. And it's like everything else, you got to let it thaw out a little bit before we try to eat the meat, right? It's been in the freezer. We're letting it thaw out. There'll be a point you're going to throw it on the grill and eat it. So I'm very optimistic in all our divisions. The chips, what are we going to do about it? Nothing we can do about it. What are we going to do about the EVs coming into the market? I hope everybody makes an EV in the market. I hope EVs come by the thousands and people want to buy the EVs and they buy them and we're all excited about it. The biggest misnomer I've seen about automobile dealerships is that we don't like selling EVs, and that is exactly the opposite.
No, that's right.
We love selling. We'll sell them a Fred Flintstone mobile. They got to kick their feet at them. Go. We don't really care, right?
That's right.
Give them what they want.
Yeah.
If they want those electric vehicles and they're affordable, we'll carry those too. So I'm more optimistic than maybe Charlie is, but I'm from Ohio and he's from Texas, so.
And he's got more inventory right now than I have.
More inventory, so I really am not as sensitive.
Uh-oh. We lost Charlie. No. Can we bring Charlie back?
Oh, he didn't want to talk anymore. He was done, Jim. I gave him
no.
Texas statement.
Well, that's true. But what you have is so contagious. If there was a way to bottle that up.
Is it true?
Every dealership around, I feel exactly the same way.
Dealers had a record year last year, Jim. They had a record year. They didn't sell as many cars, and everything else worked really, really well. By what, 48% was a number I saw?
4% return on sales. We need to keep it that way, and you got to get into things like commercial to make sure that we stay there. This lean thing, the manufacturers, everybody benefits. We're not going to go back to huge inventories. We're going to continue in this environment, and you got to pre-sell, you got to sell up the pipeline, you got to do a lot of other things that are different, but you make a lot more money, and that's the bottom line. And I'm glad Charlie's back.
I'm back.
Thank you.
I thought Charlie was mad at me for making that comment about Texas or something. I didn't know.
I went and made a dealer trade call, got most of your inventory.
Okay. Hey, Charlie, how are the dealers in Texas doing now after this big storm and everything? How y'all doing down there?
We're fine. It was a tough week, and we're still repairing a lot of pipes, but I think we're back. We've got electricity, water, food, so we're back. But it was a tough week and a half to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it, Rhett. -2 degrees, buddy.
I was thinking about you the whole time. I mean, I visit a lot of Texas dealerships, and they got open service departments in the back with big open doors and everything. I said,
Yeah.
not in a high. You don't put that door open, you're gonna have a heating bill that'll give you a heart attack. So, but
we've got 7 stores in Texas. It's like a donut. The center of the roll is gone. So we'll have to make that up the next couple of months. It was, but the big thing was our associates, our team members. They suffered a lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
By the way, Jim, hey Jim, my dinger just went off on my stock market report here. It says Vroom is down 30% today. So you must have said something online that really there must be some people online here that got a lot of money. That's all I can tell you. 30%. So I gotta watch what you say, Jim.
Well, I can't thank you both enough. This has just been miraculous time for the people that are listening out there, the young people and the dealers. This is the place where you learn at the feet of the masters. And I really appreciate it. I've learned so much from both of you. And I just, you give the fact that where you were and what you did at NADA, you're not in it for yourself. You're in it to make it better for other people. And boy, we need more of that in our world. I thank you for your time. And I thank Catherine for helping put this together. And I hope we can take this on the road and maybe do this again.
Thank you, Jim. Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it.
And Charlie, I'll see you sooner than later.